Lake Bodom murders, Finland's most infamous unsolved crime. Some crimes are planned, some are spontaneous, and some seem to be committed by someone who disappears into the night, leaving behind nothing but fear. Tonight, we bring you the chilling case of the Lake Bodom murders, one of Finland's most infamous unsolved mysteries. Stay until the end, but be warned, this story has no answers. Camping trip that turned into a nightmare. It was the evening of June 4th, 1960, when four teenagers, 15-year-old Mila Bjorklund, her boyfriend, 18-year-old Seppo Boisman, and their friends, 17-year-olds Anja Maki and Nils Gustafsson, set up their tents by Lake Bodom, a peaceful lake near Espoo, Finland. It was supposed to be a carefree summer trip, just a night of laughter, swimming, and stargazing by the water. They had no idea that by morning, 3 of them would be dead, and the only survivor would have no memory of what happened. The brutal attack in the middle of the night. The attack occurred sometime between 4 and 6 a.m. A knife-wielding assailant approached their tent in the dead of night. The teenagers never saw it coming. The killer slashed through the fabric of the tent, stabbing Mila, Seppo, and Anja repeatedly. The wounds were violent, frenzied, far beyond what was necessary to kill. Maui was stabbed 15 times, her body brutalized more than the others. Seppo and Anja were also stabbed and beaten to death, their skulls crushed with a blunt object. The only survivor, Nils Gustafsson, was found just outside the tent, unconscious, with a broken jaw, concussion, and deep stab wounds. His girlfriend Mela had been killed right beside him. But when Nils woke up, he had no memory of the attack. A crime scene that made no sense. When investigators arrived, they were immediately baffled. The bodies were still inside the collapsed tent, yet their shoes were neatly placed outside. It was as if someone had taken the time to remove them after the attack. Personal belongings were scattered, but strangely the murderer had stolen nothing, except for some of their clothes. A bloody knife and a rock covered in blood were found near the bodies. But there were no clear fingerprints, no footprints, no physical evidence pointing to a killer. The murder weapon was never found, and most disturbingly, eyewitnesses reported seeing a man with bright blonde hair walking near the crime scene in the early morning hours. But when police followed the lead, he was never identified. Theories that lead nowhere. Over the years, multiple theories emerged about who killed the teenagers at Lake Bodom. Theory 1. The kiosk keeper. One early suspect was Hans Assmann, a mysterious German expatriate who lived in Finland. Locals claimed he had ties to the KGB, and the day after the murders, he showed up at a Helsinki hospital covered in scratches and blood. Hospital staff reported that he acted strangely and refused to answer questions. But police dismissed him as a suspect without ever searching his home or testing his clothes for blood. To this day, many believe he was the real killer. Theory 2. A serial killer from Sweden. In the late 1960s, a Swedish man named Carl Goran Stenman was arrested for attacking campers with a knife in similar brutal fashion. His profile matched the Lake Bodom crime almost exactly, but when Finnish police asked Swedish authorities to extradite him for questioning, Sweden refused. The case went cold once again. Theory 3, the lone survivor, Nils Gustafsson. In a shocking twist in 2004, authorities arrested Nils Gustafsson, the only survivor of the attack. They claim that his injuries were self-inflicted and that he had killed his friends in a drunken rage. They based their case on blood-stained evidence found on his shoes. But Nils maintained he had no memory of the attack. And when the trial ended in 2005, the jury found him not guilty. To this day, there is no evidence linking him to the murders. And if he was innocent, that means the real killer was never found. The chilling unanswered questions. More than 60 years later, the Lake Bodom murders remain one of the most infamous, unsolved crimes in Europe. Who killed Mela, Seppo, and Anja? Why did the killer remove their shoes? And why was Nils left alive, but injured? Did the murderer target them specifically, Or was it just a random attack by a drifter who disappeared into the night? One thing is certain, 3 teenagers lost their lives that night, and their killer was never caught. Some crimes are solved, some killers are caught, but some remain in the shadows forever. What do you think happened at Lake Bodom? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more chilling true crime stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us next time, if you dare.